Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, thank you, Representative Edwards, for introducing this legislation. I'm Jed Thorpe, Director of Advocacy at Save the Bay. I also want to thank the other representatives like Rep. Tanzi, Rep. Cortfriend, and others who have really shown leadership on this issue in the House in recent years. But I will begin by being frank and expressing that Save the Bay is frustrated by the General Assembly's lack of attention and thoughtfulness when it comes to our state's coastal agency. A year ago, this committee received or heard testimony from environmental organizations, from sport fishermen, from shell fishermen, from surfers, from commercial fishermen, organizations representing tens of thousands of Rhode Islanders, supporting getting rid of CRMC's politically appointed counsel. Instead, the Assembly passed a bill supported by exactly one organization, the builders. That bill, which attempted to, I would say, put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound, has not been implemented, as Rep. Edwards noted. Exactly nothing has changed since that bill was passed. If anything, the situation with CRMC's counsel has only gotten worse. That bill gave the governor 10 months to find 6 individuals with, quote, experience, background, and qualifications in environmental and coastal matters, end quote, to serve on the new but still politically appointed council. And despite a directive in the new law to make those appointments by March 1st, exactly 0 nominations have been made. Again, nothing has changed. 3 of the current council seats remain vacant. All but 1 of the current council members are on expired terms. Multiple meetings have been canceled since the new law was passed due to a lack of quorum. Just this week, Tuesday's council meeting started 40 minutes late, also a frequent occurrence, as we sat around and waited for enough council members to show up for a quorum, wasting everybody's time. You know, you got members of the public there, you have attorneys there, probably charging by the minute. Back-to-back hearings on a proposed right-of-way earlier this year were canceled at the last minute because they weren't properly public noticed. We still have a blatantly illegal 600-foot-long rock wall on the shore in North Kingstown going on 3 years now. And last month, yet another decision by CRMC was overturned by the Superior Court, this time an aquaculture permit in South County, due to the council's failure to follow their own rules. We'll have to redo that one. That's been 8 years now for just one application. And all of this creates a system that is inefficient. It leads to poor decisions. It's bad for business, and it continues to erode public confidence in our coastal agency. So my question for this body is, how bad do things need to get before the Assembly will take meaningful action? House Bill 7996 would, as Rep. Edwards noted, eliminate the appointed council, which we are clearly having a hard time finding people willing and able to serve on, and merge CRMC into DEM by creating a new Bureau of Coastal Resources Management within DEM. All the functions, all the responsibilities would remain the same. You would just simply pick it up, put it into DEM. This would create a more efficient coastal agency with access to administrative, legal, and communications resources of a larger agency. It would bring Rhode Island in line with most of the other coastal states, and it would make our coastal agency more accountable. The bill would also require the hiring of a staff attorney. Currently, CRMC has no in-house legal counsel. The bill would retain public input by creating an appointed community advisory board to advise the new Bureau on programs and policies. As Rep. Edwards noted, there are some drafting errors in the bill which were corrected in the Senate version, in case anybody's looking at them side by side. I'll close by saying that the more we have thought about it, the more Save the Bay believes that merging CRMC into DEM is the best option for the Bay and for the state. We can't afford to wait for years for the bill that passed last year to obviously fail. We can take meaningful action this year by merging CRMC into DEM, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Yes, Representative Newberry.
2 things. I represent a part of the state that probably has the least relevance to CRMC, and in all my years in this building, I've never heard more complaints about an agency than CRMC. So I don't understand this bill fully. It's the first time hearing of it, but my gut reaction is it's probably a good idea. Secondly, unrelated to that, I did get your email on the other matter, and I did agree with you. I need a chance to respond to you, so I'll let you know.
Thank you. Yep.
Any further questions or comments? I think last year the only 2 opposition points or concerns that were raised about this was the potential loss of federal funding or accreditation if we were to merge these two agencies, and the loss of the ability for the public to have input via the council. In my mind, those are outweighed by just the pure dysfunction that we've heard on an overwhelming basis from folks over the last at least 5 or 6 years.
Sure, if I can respond to those 2 points. NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which kind of grants our state coastal agencies authority, they have been very clear every time that they do their 5-year review that they don't have an opinion one way or another about how the agency gets set up or structured. Now, you would have to go through a process to get approval from NOAA, but that's a fairly, simple process to go through. But they really leave it to the states. They don't have a preference one way of whether or not you need to have a council or not. In fact, we are an outlier among coastal states. Most states, have an agency that functions like what is proposed in this bill. And on the, kind of public input piece, DEM has public hearings and public meetings all the time. So, that part of CRMC's functioning would not have to go away. If they were to be merged as a bureau, that Bureau of Coastal Resources Management could still choose, and they most likely would, continue to have public hearings on the things that fall underneath their purview.
Would it be necessary to have language in here that made the transfer only official upon approval from NOAA?
Yes, I don't know if that language is in the bill, but that certainly could be added easily with one line in a sub-A that it would be contingent upon approval from NOAA.
It's a long bill, but given that, I think it probably would be something that would be wise to include in case for some unexpected reason we pass this and NOAA does not approve the application, and then we have state law that conflicts with federal law and funding and could have even more issues than we have now.
Sure.
I'll ask the committee's legal counsel to look into it as well.
Sure, thank you.
But thank you for your answers. Any further questions?